Hi, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmad Afnannajmi bin Ahmad Dhiauddin, and I will be present on introduction. Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Next, we go to the background of the study. Covid-19, which is stand for Coronavirus Disease 2019, is an infection caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus that was detected in Wuhan, China in December 2019. It is very infectious and has rapidly spread globally. COVID-19 most commonly produces respiratory symptoms that resemble a cold, flu, or pneumonia. COVID-19 may cause damage to more than only your lungs and respiratory system. The condition may also affect other sections of your body. University of Hopkins Johns Hopkins has made an analysis of mortality in 20 most affected countries by COVID-19 worldwide. This study will only focus on 5 countries, which that is Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia. There were approximately 18,700,000 confirmed cases that have been reported, but the total number of deaths caused by COVID-19 were just only around 146,000 cases until the 17th June 2022. This study was taken to analyze the relationship between the number of reported cases and total deaths caused by COVID-19 in these 5 mentioned countries. Based on this study, the number of reported cases is a manipulated variable, whereas total deaths caused by COVID-19 in Thailand, Greece, Slovakia, Malaysia, and Canada is a response variable. This is because the overall number of deaths caused by COVID-19 in this country is determined by the number of reported cases. The greater the number of confirmed cases reported, the greater the total number of deaths caused by COVID-19 in these countries. Next, we will go to the objective of the study. The first, to determine the relationship between the number of reported cases and total deaths caused by COVID-19 in 5 countries. Next is to obtain the types of graphs that are suitable for the data. And the third one is to find the value of mean, median, standard deviation, and interquartile range. And the last but not least is to determine the correlation between the number of reported cases and total deaths caused by COVID-19 in 5 countries.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Emilia Natasya binti Abd Rahman. Firstly, I will talk about the significance of this study. The finding of this study will benefit the Ministry of Health as it can help them in preventing the COVID-19 progression. There have been around 18.7 million confirmed cases of the 2019 new coronavirus COVID-19, which has infected roughly 5 countries by 7 June. Monitoring of the effectiveness of control policy and an understanding of the transmission dynamics of the virus in each of the countries that were impacted on a daily basis are 2 things that are very necessary for our subsequent actions. Thus, it can summarize the effectiveness of the law that have been made during the pandemic. Next, the limitation of this study is that no discussion for asking questions concerning the accuracy of data that are needed because the data is already accessible on the Johns Hopkins Coronavirus Resources Center website. Next, the data may change somewhat in terms of research goal to meet our objective. It is because the data was already discovered by another researchers.
Hi, I am Nurfateha Syazwanie binti Mohamad Zaini, and I will be going to continue this presentation with the second part of our project, which is methodology. In this part, we listed down the methods we use in order to fulfill the objectives of our study. It will be broken down into 3 types of techniques, namely data description, graphical techniques, and numerical techniques. Firstly, University of Hopkins has made an analysis of mortality in 20 most affected countries by COVID-19 worldwide. So that will be our population. While the sample of the study is 5 out of 20 countries being analyzed has been focused in this study. Next, the data was obtained from research by University of Hopkins websites. Hence, the data is secondary data. The study was carried carried out to find the relationship between the number of reported cases and total death caused by COVID-19 in 5 countries, which are Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia. So the dependent variable is the number of reported cases of COVID-19, while the independent variable is the total death caused by it in 5 countries mentioned. The type of data for dependent variables and independent variables is nominal. The ratio measurement scale was employed in this study. The measurement scale was chosen because ratio is a measurement that is claimed to be an ordered scale that gives significance to the difference between measurement and includes a real 0 point. Nominal were not employed in the study since our data is quantitative and cannot be compared with nominal, which is a qualitative data. For this study, we use several types of graphs to represent the data to be described adequately and to illustrate relationships in the data. For example, the first one, bar graphs display information in a way that helps generalize and conclusions quickly and easily. The second one, pie chart, is a type of diagram or graphical representation to display the division or breakdown of data and information in the form of a circle divided into several sectors. Third one, line charts are used to track changes and it can also be used to compare the changes. For this study, we compare changes between number of confirmed case and number of death cases. And the last one, scatter plot, is used to describe the data using Cartesian coordinates. The data displayed using scatter plots are represented by points located between the two axes. By using graphical techniques, we managed to achieve our first and second objective of the study. Last but not least, we managed to use numerical techniques effectively to fulfill our third and last objectives, which are to find the values of mean, median, standard deviation of the study, and the fourth one, to determine the correlation between the number of reported cases and total death caused by COVID-19 in 5 countries. By using a measure of central tendency, measure of location, measure of dispersion, and also lastly, measure of skewness. That's all for me. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul binti Mohamad Yazid, and I will continue the presentation with the next chapter, which is chapter 3. It is about the result and interpretation of our data. First of all, I will start with the data presentation. For the data presentation, we use Excel and also SPSS to make the graph. There are a few graphs which are bar chart, pie chart, line chart, and scatter plot. There are several types of bar chart, which are simple bar chart, multiple bar chart, and component bar chart. Each bar represents qualitative data. So for our data, we use a simple bar chart to show that the higher confirmed cases, the higher death cases caused by COVID-19. Next, pie chart. It is used to show a whole part of relationship for categorical or nominal data. The slices in the pie typically represent percentage of the total. The total angle of the circle is 360 degrees. These angles are made in the circle by means of the protractor to show different components. Our pie chart shows that the highest reported cases and death cases because of COVID-19 was in Malaysia, and the second most highest cases for reported and deaths was in Thailand. Then we also have a line graph. Our line graph shows that the death cases increased by the increase of reported cases of COVID-19 in 5 countries, which are Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia. Lastly, we have a scatter plot. It is also called as scatter diagram. It is used to show the relationship between two different types of data. It is describe the nature of a relationship between independent and dependent variables. Scatter diagram also can help to show different possible correlation categories like positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation. In this case, our scatter plot shows a strong positive linear correlation between the reported cases and the total death cases of COVID-19 in Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia. Next, in descriptive statistic analysis, we use SPSS to get the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, and skewness. Other than that, we also got the maximum and minimum value, range, and first, second, and third quartile. For this study, on average, the mean of total death caused by the disease of COVID-19 in Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia is 29,200 reported cases. For the median of the dataset is 30,000. This means that 50% of the death cases comes from more than 30,000 reported cases, while the other 50% of them come from less than 30,000 reported cases. The mode of the dataset is 20,000. The sample standard deviation of the dataset is 5,630.28 death cases, and the sample variance of the set is 31,070,000. Next, the skewness value obtained is negative, which is negative 1.310. So the distribution of the data is negatively skewed, or which means that it is skewed to the left. The maximum value of death cancer is 35,000, while the minimum value is 20,000. The difference between the maximum and minimum value of the death cancer is 15,000, which means that the range of the death cancers is 15,000. Next, the interpretation for the first quartile is 25% of the death cancers comes from less than or equal to 24,500 reported cases of COVID-19, while the other 70% of the death cases comes from more than 24,500 reported cases. For the second quartile, 50% of the death cancer comes from more than or equal to 30,000 reported cases, while the other 50% of them comes from less than 30,000 reported cases. And lastly, the interpretation for the third quartile is 75% of the death cases come from less than or equal to 33,500 reported cases, while the other 25% of them come from more than 3,500 reported cases. So that's all from me about the explanation of data presentation and descriptive statistic analysis. My group member Nur Emilia Natasya will continue the presentation with her part. That's all from me. Thank you.
For the correlation of the study, the value of R equal to 0.913 suggests a strong positive linear correlation relationship between the number of reported cases and total deaths caused by COVID-19 in Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia by 7 June 2022. This means that the higher the number of reported cases, the higher the total death due to this disease. For regression of the study shows that coefficient of determination R squared equal to 0.83 means that 83% of the variability of total deaths can be explained by the number of reported cases. The remaining 17% is unexplained variability of total deaths. The regression equation is y cap equal to 5.776 plus 0.626x. The value of B1 equal to 0.626 means that for every increase in number of reported cases, the total death will increase by 0.626 cases. For the slope, if the number of reported cases increase by 1 rate, the total death predicted will increase by 0.626.
So we have come to the conclusion. COVID-19 is a significant problem that requires us to recognize its danger and adopt appropriate preventive measures since it may have an impact on our health and life. This indicates most of the people do not practicing the law and SOPs that have been made by the government. The higher the number of confirmed cases, the higher the death toll that made the major problem as it can impact the country's economy and people's lifestyle. Numerical technique that being used is measure of central tendency, measure of diversion, and measure of position. From the data given, we can analyze the value of mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, variance, and quartiles. In order to achieve this purpose of the study and the statistical research, both graphical technique and numerical approach have been used. One of the method that are used in modern time for the purpose of making the process of research more manageable is analysis. The graphical technique that have been used is bar chart, pie chart, and line chart, and the scatter plot, where from both techniques we can see the pattern of the study. There is strong positive linear relationship between the number of reported cases and total deaths caused by the disease of COVID-19 in Greece, Canada, Malaysia, Thailand, and Slovakia by 7th June. Uh, that's all from us. Thank you.